When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Hello everyone, we're Superhero Stuff You Should Know, and if you think you know about superheroes and comic books, think again.
We got romance, we got action,
Romance.
we got comedy, we got everything you need, man. Come on down to Superhero Stuff You Should Know for all your superhero needs.
I don't know about this romance. What part are you talking about?
We've got all kinds of sketches, and then deep dives on top of that. Come on down to Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
All right, so come on down to... Wait, why did I say come on down? To Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
Movie night. Halloween is just around the corner, so let's talk about Halloween 2, celebrating a 45th anniversary?
No, this
some
was 81,
no,
so it's...
It would be 38.
It's
no.
41.
40, yeah.
41,
whatever.
Yeah, we definitely went with a really good anniversary for this one.
This is only my second watch, and I liked it a lot more than I did the first time.
That's ironic because I feel like, here's the thing. There are people in this world who will argue that this is like top 3 Halloween movies, and I think that those people are insane because to me, I think that this movie is a perfect middle movie in the franchise, but towards the lower end of the middle in my mind. Like, it's not the absolute worst. Curse of Michael Myers still exists. Halloween Resurrection still exists.
Yeah.
Halloween Kills still exists. There are some Halloween franchise films that are really, really bad. What I'll say actually is that the people who love Halloween 2 and hate Halloween Kills, it's the same fucking movie.
Yeah, it really is.
It's just, that I don't get. Here's the difference. 30 minutes. 30 minutes shorter if you watch Halloween 2.
And I'll absolutely take a 30-minute shorter version.
Yeah, but otherwise, it's the same goddamn movie. It's a movie mostly in a hospital. The townspeople are pissed off about the murders that night, and
right, which is a great setup. That's a great setup. Everything's great about that part, and that's why I finally accepted that was what we were doing. I don't think I accepted that the first time. I think I had much higher expectations for what Halloween 2 was. Again, if this is a 41st anniversary, maybe I watched it 32 when it was 32. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was. I'm just trying to find arbitrary numbers again.
But you know what? It's one of those things where with this specific movie, I think that pacing wise and kill wise and even moments wise, it's pretty good. My problem with Halloween 2 is that it really feels like the beginning of breaking everything that made the first movie so strong out the gate. Because you're introducing the Laurie Strode is this adopted child who is actually that subplot is dumb. You've jacked up Michael Myers' strength tenfold in this movie in a way that he wasn't in the first movie. When you think about the people that he killed in the first movie, the most quote unquote impressive feat of strength was him lifting a guy up enough to pin him to the wall with a knife. This one, he's lifting a woman one-handed by a knife fully off the floor till her head is touching the ceiling, and I just really struggle with that level of power up that
He
they've given
did
him.
bring a full gravestone into a second floor bedroom.
Okay.
Okay. So
All right,
I think
Kyle.
we just.
I'm with you, man.
We need to. That's the. I'm just. I understand where you're coming from, but if we can't disregard that thing, which I always thought was the worst part of Halloween.
Yes.
I always thought that
It really broke your suspension of disbelief.
I was pissed.
You don't know, man. Like, he was maybe underneath that regular mask, he was able to convince a couple local people to help him carry it. Hey, I got this prop for Halloween. It's a little heavy.
Don't mind the mask.
Are you guys closed? Are you guys closed yet? I have one more decoration to finish. He gets real polite about it.
Well, before we dive into the plot line, what's the drinks on tab for you guys?
All right. Well, Kyle.
Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
Well, no, I mean you.
I just had sad news. The bad news first is that I'm sick. I'm recovering from being sick.
Yeah.
I'm not partaking in anything fun other than my normal meds, which are fun.
Yeah, I mean,
suppose.
it's like you're in a hospital.
Yeah. I use the paper cup still. It's not the best economic thing, but I still use them to take my pills. What do you got, Scott?
I went with Southern Tier Harvest Autumn IPA because I feel like there are probably a lot of very obvious, like Michael Myers type and Halloween type. Like, I didn't want to do a pumpkin ale. I didn't want to do a slasher killer thing. So I was like, what does he do? He harvests.
He harvests.
Yes,
All right.
correct. Haddonfield Harvest.
All right, well, let's dive into the movie. We start off with just an extended replay of the end of the original movie. I always love when they do this because I imagine that the concept is like, I don't know, people might be coming to Halloween 2 that never saw Halloween 1. We need to get them caught up. But I want to talk about the opening credits and the poster for a quick second because I think this is my favorite Halloween poster, right? It's the
good.
pumpkin head with the
Really
skull face screaming inside of it. And it made me remember that kind of after this movie, all the way up until the 2018 film, we really don't get this opening credits that I love, where it's just the music, the pumpkin, and the names running on the side with a slow zoom or whatever. In this particular one, the pumpkin kind of bursts open and there's a skull inside of it. I love how the first Halloween, this one, and the 2018 Halloween all kind of have that thematic opening that I kind of just wish was across the board for all of them. Not to take anything away from how good the Halloween 4 get you into the fall mood opening is, but
it's not this for sure.
it's not this. I think that it's kind of one of those cool simple things. So we pick up, grab a brush and put a little makeup. We pick up where the last movie left off. We find Michael Myers stealing a knife from a nearby elderly couple as they watch the always copywritten free Night of the Living Dead movie.
Yes.
And then Mike Myers just kills the next door neighbor for reasons. There's not really much of a motive on that one. The thing that's the hardest for me to buy in this whole movie is the death of the teenager Ben.
Ben Tramer.
I don't even remember this. Ben is brought up in the first movie as the guy that Laurie's going to take.
She has a crush on. Yeah.
Yeah, that she has a crush on. And he just happens to be drunk and dressed exactly like Michael Myers.
Yeah, I didn't. That's my. Well, I was going to say that's my least favorite part of this movie, but there's not a lot for me to love in this movie. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I just think it's very mediocre. So
I think it's very mediocre too, especially when you're coming off of the easiest 5 out of 5 you could ever give a movie that is the first Halloween.
Yeah, exactly.
I do think that's to its detriment, though.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that, unfortunately, it is a Halloween movie. So if it wasn't a Halloween movie, if we were just talking about, a standalone slasher movie that we watch for horror movie night, I feel like we could be all over this. But it is. It's a bummer that it is in the shadow of Halloween.
But I do think
I don't think you can't not have it, obviously, because it's but it's just one of those it's almost a lose-lose in some ways.
But you know what it is? I feel like Halloween 2 feels like a movie made out of obligation. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whereas while Halloween 4, I'm going to just name some of the sequels I think are really good. Halloween 4, Halloween H2O, like these are also like made out of obligation, but like you could tell that the people who were hired to write it had a passion to write that story.
Yeah.
I really feel like John Carpenter and Tommy Lee Wallace and anybody else who was part of this from Halloween 1 into Halloween 2 all kind of felt like they had a gun against their head to just make this movie.
And
it feels like that. It feels like, all right, let's just do it to get it over with. Now, the idea of picking it up like from the immediate second that the first movie ended, I do like that because you don't get that a lot in these movies. So like that's kind of cool for that in a slasher trope.
Can we go back to something you just said, which was that you said you feel like Halloween 4 was made out of obligation. I want to know your thoughts on that because I have thoughts on that. Why do you believe that it was made out of obligation?
Well, I think any sequel to a franchise is made out of obligation to keep a franchise alive. But I think that whoever wrote Halloween 4 at least was like, all right, I have to write Halloween 4. What's the exciting story I want to tell using these characters where this really feels like, all right, fuck, they're making us do this. Let's just like do. And I feel like Kyle, didn't Tommy Lee Wallace get offered this and turned it down because that's exactly how he felt the movie was in his mind?
So I think the difference that you're getting at is that this is an obligation to capitalize, while the other Halloween movies that you referenced are an obligation to like maybe like keep the name alive. Like they're lesser of an obligation, but an obligation sort of like logistically or studio wise or whatever.
Well, and
this is like truly like, hey, we have to capitalize on this. Like, oh, it's a scramble, like whatever it is.
Well,
and
he did.
He passed on it.
I think Tommy said that it was literally one of those situations where the producers were just like, look, we're going to make it with or without you. So like, make your decision. But it was kind of like, all right, well, we'll do it because we're afraid someone else will fuck it up, essentially.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, but it does feel like, I feel like even John Carpenter has been like, yeah, making Laurie Strode the sister of Michael Myers was a dumb move. Like,
I've forever wondered if that was like, can we get away with this kind of move? Now, backtrack again to the question that I brought up about obligation, because Halloween 4 is, in my opinion, like the least obligatory of all the movies in this franchise, because Mustafa Akkad was the person who bought the rights to Halloween after they basically just moldered for 6 years.
It was a long ass time.
It was 5 years, because I think that, so it wasn't Halloween 3
Season
83?
of Witch was 83, and then that came out in 88.
88, yeah. So there was, let's just call it 4 years, where arguably one of the biggest franchises, because like Halloween was still pretty monolithic. I know that Nightmare on Elm Street was getting ramped up in because 84, you have the original Nightmare on Elm Street. And then I think that there were probably some mediocre Friday the 13th that were coming out in the early 80s too. But truly, I think that Halloween was like so big. And then, so Mustafa Akkad acquired the rights, and then they were like, I think there was love behind it. That's why I was saying that it seems like it's the least obligatory of the series, because they're like, it seemed like they really wanted to revitalize Michael Myers. Like the idea was, let's buy the rights, let's get Michael Myers back into the series, because it obviously did not work without him. And that wasn't, I don't think that's Tommy Lee Wallace's fault with Halloween 3. I think entirely the audience's fault.
The obligation there is we have to make up for Halloween 3.
Okay,
because I know that happens sometimes too. And I want to make it clear, like, Halloween 3 isn't a bomb. It was a disappointment. You know what I mean?
It wasn't what people were looking for. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but like, yeah,
it made $15 million on a $4 million budget, so it's not like they lost their shirt over the movie. But like the crowds were not into it, and the critics hated it, and it just kind of felt like, all right, let's just stop while we're ahead.
Didn't it take like 30 years for it to get its comeuppance? That's crazy.
Basically, yes, exactly. Well, let's talk a little bit more about Ben for just a second, right? Because this scene, as like kind of breaking my suspension of disbelief that there's two people in a backwards William Shatner mask wandering
they're
the streets.
both after Laurie Strode in some capacity.
It's a really
the shot where he
joke.
gets hit by a when he gets hit by that car and then the close-ups of the body burning up and then later we see the charred up corpse is fucking dark. Like, it's like heavy, especially watching it knowing that that's not Michael Myers. You're like, man, just some fucking innocent bystander just got fucking wrecked.
Right, because Loomis is losing his goddamn mind.
Yeah,
He is out of it. He's done now. He is done.
Listen, when they bring in the U.S. Marshals to take Loomis back to Smith's Grove, that's not the wrong call.
Right. That's right. It's not. It is not.
Unhinged.
He's off his rocker. He is unhinged, and I understand. I saw the movie before. You shot a man. He fell out. He fell off the balcony. I saw it again. I saw it twice. Yeah. And he falls off the balcony, and you don't know where he went. And
how heavy do you think he's made out of fucking metal? Because he falls out, and there's a full like indentation of a man.
Listen, we're gonna get into the superhuman elements of Michael Myers in a second, because him like getting shot and falling off of that balcony and leaving a human imprint, but still being able to get up and move, pales in comparison to the fact that he's totally fine with both eyeballs blown out of his face from gunshots.
Laurie is a great shot, by the way.
I literally wrote that down. Impressive shot for a person with zero gun practice.
Yeah, well, that brings some of that supernatural element to it, which I really like. And when we get to the whole, I hate the fact that they made Donald Pleasance call it Sam Hain because it's Samhain. But it was 1980. It was 1980 when they the very beginning of 1981 when they were making this movie. They probably Matt, did you do research on how fast they turned this movie around?
I did not. I probably should have. I was doing the plot summary, so I didn't do my normal trivia research that I do. But let's talk about Laurie. Let's talk about sharpshooter Laurie here, who has been rushed to the hospital where a paramedic named Jimmy has developed a crush. But unfortunately for Laurie, Michael Myers is heading straight towards that hospital. Dr. Loomis and the deputy are fast in pursuit, but not fast enough. Myers is able to cut the power into the hospital and slash every single car tire to keep everybody trapped there before he slaughters most of the people in the hotel. I feel like this is a great time to just talk about some of our favorite kills, because this movie is the first thing I have ever recalled seeing Michael Myers. I was at my grandparents' house. It was October. I put on USA, and it was the security guard getting the hammer in his head. Like, that was like the first thing I ever witnessed with Michael Myers.
Good one. Nice first one.
It's a good kill. You know what? There's a lot that I can complain about with Halloween 2, but if I have to give a big compliment to it, they do a good job of saying, fuck it, we're in a hospital, let's use the hospital for these kills in logistical ways. Now, I don't know how many hospitals have hot tubs in it normally, but
it's not. No, that's for physical therapy, buddy. That's
okay.
That's not like there was just. It wasn't just a fuck tub, you know.
The jacuzzi.
Now, Scott, I feel like you've talked about in the past how this hot tub scene was very formative for you.
Oh my God! So I apologize to anyone that this offends. But if you want to just fast forward a minute, you press the on your podcasting app.
There's a little thing, 15, 30 seconds.
30 seconds, and I'll be out of it. All right. So when I was in junior high, my buddy and I would make bootleg copies of our favorite movies. And so, he would have his dad's camcorder connected to his VCR. We would rent a movie, say Halloween 2, and he would make a copy onto like a blank tape. We would probably do 2 on a blank tape, and I think that this was, I want to say that this was Halloween 2 and The Craft on one tape, but I still have it. It's down in the basement at my house now somewhere. But I watched and enjoyed the 47-minute mark of this movie a lot. Probably the most out of any movie that I had bootlegged in junior high. And, I can tell you that copy is getting a little squiggly from overuse in that 47-minute mark. I know for a fact there was the 47-minute mark because it's part of a part of my brain. So yes, I love that scene. I love when Bud gets fucking murdered because he's awful. He's the worst person in most of the Halloween movies. He sucks so bad. And he
does smoke using sutures though, which as a roach clip. Which for the patrons, this is my father-in-law's roach clip that he gave to Carly, my wife, that we still use to this day. So in lieu of a drink, I will show you my Dorito eating device.
But yeah, so great scene in the hot tub.
He does suck. Bud sucks though.
We get this. I forgot about this shot. The needle going into her head so close to her eyeball.
What a dumb kill. You know, like, what a dumb fucking
But
kill.
does that lead to the blood draining as well? Is that the same woman that Jimmy finds where she's been then hooked up to the gurney where they're just draining her blood all over the floor?
Another woman. Because that was, I think the girl who gets, because there's the youngest woman, I think she's like a candy striper. I don't think she's an actual nurse. So she is the youngest, and I think that the woman who is getting her blood drained is, I think she might have been the nurse. She was the nurse at the station that was giving a hard time to the one who was getting in the hot tub with Bud.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
have appreciated.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I feel like the casting of the nurses were that they had the machine from Multiplicity and just got the same actress, because they are all like, they all look so basically the same to me, and none of them have any character development really. So they're just all like,
no. And
then this nurse, and then this nurse.
Oh, before we go on any longer, I think that there is a really gross part of this movie, and it happens right before this hot tub kill. It's when, and I'm so embarrassed that I don't remember the name of the nurse who gets, she gets boiled. Her face gets boiled. So she thinks that Bud, who just got strangled in the control room behind the hot tub, she thinks that he's coming out to like try and get things going with them, and she's like, oh, I'm too hot, like, let's go get breakfast. And she does the thing that so many women in Halloween movies do, which is they are trying to placate this fucking monster of a boyfriend, and she sucks. It's actually Michael Myers he has his hand on her shoulder, and she sucks on his fucking killer finger, and that is so disgusting.
It's gnarly.
Like, can you imagine how much blood and like entrails have been on that in the last 36 hours? Fuck.
Yeah,
and he ate like a raw dog at the Myers house. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh god. There's a lot more to that hand than I realized.
Yeah,
right.
It's real gross. So at this point in the movie, Laurie is having memories of visiting Michael as a child and realizing that she was adopted, and it's all stupid. It's not even worth talking about. Equally stupid but laugh out loud dumb for me is Jimmy finding the nurse on the gurney with all of her blood on the floor and in a panic turning to run away and slipping and concussing himself from the rest of the movie.
Yes, just
and he turns out to marry Laurie fucking Strode, and they have Jamie Lloyd as their daughter. Like, because at the beginning of Halloween 4, there's a composite picture that they put together of the three of them, which I find absolutely hilarious. Like, this fucking
there's some
knucklehead.
There's things from this movie into part 4 that are hilarious to me.
Yeah.
But Loomis shows up. He shoots Myers before he's able to attack Laurie. But he's still not dead. And he kills the U.S. Marshal. Myers then stabs Loomis and comes for Laurie, who, as we said, uses her sharpshooter skills to blind him by blowing out both of his eyeballs in 2 shots. He starts to just kind of slash blindly. I do love how violent, and he's also just making this like almost cry noise as he's slashing at that point, kind of humanizing the character for a millisecond. And this is when Laurie and Loomis start to fill the room with gas. Laurie leaves as Loomis ignites it, And despite the fireball explosion, neither one is killed, as we find out in the next movie, that Loomis survives and that Michael Myers walks out flaming and collapses, but is still alive for the sequels.
Well, that's a testament to Haddonfield Memorial's care for their...
Well, here's the crazy thing about that is that the credits of this movie is literally Michael Myers' mask melting off of his fucking face.
Yes.
So, he has no eyeballs. Let's just imagine that's
the biggest thing.
He has
for
no
part
eyeballs.
4, he should be blind for the rest of this franchise.
He's fine. He, that's, I think, my least favorite part about this movie is that it makes it harder for me to enjoy The Return of Michael Myers. Because The Return of Michael Myers is the perfect Halloween movie. Now, I know that is a hot take. I know I've already said it on the show, but the reason why I say this, for gentle listener, the reason why I'm saying this is I think that it's the perfect Halloween movie in the franchise, aside from H2O, because it feels the most like my childhood's Halloween vibe. Not because I watched it as a kid. I didn't watch it until I was probably, 13. But I grew up in the 80s, and so the set pieces feel nostalgic to me. So that's why I say Halloween 4 is the most Halloween of the Halloween movies. So that it just
totally
Halloween
fair.
2 makes it difficult. Now, here's one thing I do want to talk about real quick before we're out of this. I love the Druid angle of this movie. I hate that they that Donald Pleasance doesn't say Samhain. He says Sam Hain.
Sam Hain. That's Ben Tramer's best friend, Sam Hain.
Yeah. Very good. Love it. But I really like that they build this lore because I think it's fun. And I think that it also is a nice setup for Halloween 3 because it's implied that it's the same group of people that who created this killing machine in Michael Myers. When you learn about the Curse of Thorn in 4 and 5 and 6, it didn't work with Michael Myers, so they're trying a different way. I really like that. It's like kind of a shared universe. Even if I'm kind of stretching it a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, I'm into it. But yes, at the end of the movie, as you said, we see Myers' mask melting off of his face while Laurie Strode, very much alive and very much traumatized, is taken to a different hospital.
And to live another day.
Yes. Against all odds. She keeps on trucking. And then just off-screen dies in an accident by part 4.
Because she did not want to come back for part 4.
Yeah.
She was legitimate by the time 87 rolled around and they were like, we're going to make another one. She didn't want to do it.
Well, that's why H2O was a huge deal when she came back.
Yeah.
Now she'll come back for any one of these fucking movies.
Yeah, she loves it. She loves it now.
Hello, everyone. We're Superhero Stuff You Should Know. And if you think you know about superheroes and comic books, think again.
We got romance. We got action.
Romance.
We got comedy. We got everything you need, man. Come on down to Superhero Stuff You Should Know for all your superhero needs.
I don't know about this romance. What part are you talking about?
We've got all kinds of sketches and then deep dives on top of that. Come on down to Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
All right, so come on down to... Wait, why did I say come on down? To Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
Here it is, guys. Welcome to my hometown's video store.
Sweet, I didn't even know these still existed.
Well, they haven't had a new release since like 2004, but it's still standing. Why don't you guys look around and rent something? It's on me.
Okay, I'm done.
What?
I got the best of 1987, RoboCop, Lethal Weapon, and Predator.
Predator's good, but Predator 2 is better.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, all those old action films, the sequels are better. RoboCop 2, Predator 2, Highlander 2.
Can't argue with Highlander 2.
Do they have any anime?
Yep, if you look, it's right over there.
That's like 5 tapes.
Yeah, welcome to the Midwest.
Steve, what are you renting?
I'll probably rent some bad sci-fi. Maybe something with Will Smith.
Nice. Get some Tim Burton Planet of the Apes while you're at it.
Isn't that the one where you wanted to bang the girl monkey?
Welcome to Analog Jones in the Temple of Film. I'm Steve.
I'm Chris.
I'm Brad.
We are a VHS podcast that breaks down the box art, trailers, and behind the scenes Do you miss the old days before the internet when you only talked about the films you watched with your friends? We watch these old tapes and look for cool trailers, bizarre promos, and break them down for your entertainment.
If you like sweaty action movies, crappy sci-fi, or schlocky horror films and hate reading, listen to Analog Jones.
Sometimes we even do research and get our facts right on these old movies.
Even if we don't, it's on the internet. It's facts now.
So search for Analog Jones and find us at Anything That Plays podcast.
All right. Well, now that we've gone through Halloween H2O, or Jesus, I wish it was H2O.
You wish.
Now that we went through Halloween 2O, so this was my pick. I get to start on the double features this time, and I'm going to go with one that I think we actually talked about not too long ago. I'm going with X-Ray, also known as Hospital Massacre.
Because, yeah. And I don't have to tell Kyle what the movie's about because now he knows.
No.
Yeah. I think I was that what I picked like a few weeks ago.
It was literally like 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Genuinely
okay.
can't remember what it was for though.
Well,
and I
it was
the episode,
the
but
guest?
I don't remember. It may have been the guess. It may have been my last pick.
Yeah.
Every time
And
Matt
you know
picks
what?
a
That
movie,
was-
we're just gonna.
I just keep picking movies that Kyle
Massacre.
is like, this feels like X-Ray, a.k.a. Hospital Massacre.
It was going to be my pick. It was.
Oh my God.
You know. So this was tough. Scott, what do you have?
I mean,
don't really have backup yet.
It's so obvious. I'm just going with H4 because if I'm watching a Halloween movie, I'm double featuring it with a Halloween 4 with Halloween 4.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle, while you're deciding on that, have you guys ever seen the cover art for the novelization of Halloween 2?
Yes. Yeah. I love that. I love
It's
that.
incredible, Matt. It's
looking-
so for the
Oh, yep, I've seen that. I've definitely seen that. Yeah,
for the
it's the
people
screaming
who aren't
face
on the
inside the
Patreon,
jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, there's this jack-o'-lantern, and it's got a
amazing.
screaming woman's face inside. It's so good. The saddest thing for me is how fucking expensive the novelizations are, because I would love to have a copy of Halloween 1 and 2 to go with my copy of Halloween 3 that I have, which I was going to read to have be my what did we watch, read, listen to, whatever for this episode, but I couldn't make it the 250 pages through this in time. So I'm just going to enjoy it when I get to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you had to stop. I thought it was like it was so bad you stopped, which I thought
was at least going
unheard
to
of.
start it and be like,
Yeah.
because I've heard that this novelization is fun. And I like these
Some of
novelizations.
them really, truly are.
Well, the idea is that and apparently the Halloween Ends novelization is super, super interesting in the fact that they explain a lot of the backstory, which, I mean, as I've talked about before on the show, which is probably a couple years at this point, but Halloween Ends is, it's basically Halloween 4. In my opinion, it's Halloween 4. It's what would have happened at the end of Halloween 4 into Halloween 5 if they hadn't basically retconned all of what happened in the last scene of Halloween 4.
Well, so what happened, I learned this through a couple different sources, but what happens often with those novelizations is they want the novelization to come out right around the exact same time the movies comes out. So they're usually working off of the first draft of the screenplay to write the novelization, because they're writing it while they're filming. What I thought, one of my favorite factoids about that, and I think I've mentioned this on the show before, but fuck it, I'll say it again. The Can't Hardly Wait novelization.
There's a novelization for Can't Hardly Wait?
Boy, is there,
think you've
and boy,
mentioned
do
it.
I own it. Oh, I own it. The funniest thing about the novelization for Can't Hardly Wait is if you look at the credits for Can't Hardly Wait, outside of like your main 8 characters, no one has a name. Like, it's just like band member
Banana
1, band member
Girl.
2. So the novelization people had to create names for every single character.
It would have been funnier if they hadn't,
Like, they were just like, we can't just write like the girl who's throwing the party says to band member number 3 that this thing happened. Like, it's so funny to me.
Well, fucking why not?
Have we stalled enough for you, Kyle? What is your double feature?
Absolutely. X-Ray, aka Hospital Massacre.
Perfect. I love it.
I'm just kidding. Halloween. I was actually going to say Can't Hardly Wait too. We said it earlier. Halloween Kills would just be a really kind of fun. Even though people are not stoked about it, I think it'd be a great double feature to go with this. It's the same fucking movie.
It is the same movie.
But it's like
that would be pretty
it might
punishing.
evoke the same emotion.
Yeah. No.
I think it'd be a fun double feature.
All right. So let's talk about some of the stuff that's going on. First off, scare packages. They're here. Hit up the website, hmmpodcast.com. It's the only place you can get them. Get a shirt, get some swag. It's a great time. Also find us on social media, HMN Podcast, basically everywhere, including Patreon. You want to hit up that Patreon, get all that sweet Patreon content, and mark your calendars because December 6th is the Geekscape holiday live stream, and Horror Movie Night will have some type of presence there as part of at least Kyle and myself. I think Scott might be tapping out on this. But Kyle, myself, and the Jersey Ghouls, and maybe other people, including Scott, will be ranking all of the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I forgot to respond to that email thread. Yeah, I'm going to do that. That's fine.
Okay.
You already know what my ranking is, though.
You didn't respond back, and I'm like, I don't think he wants to rewatch any of these.
I forgot.
Do you think I need to rewatch the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies to, like, rank them?
But yes, tune in for that. And then lastly, we're going to talk about stuff that we've read, listened to, whatever. I'm going to talk about a movie that kind of surprised me. I watched it on Shudder. It's been on Shudder for a while. It's a older movie in the last 4 or 5 years, I want to say. Astron 6, definitely a company that people either love or hate. I've never decided how I felt about them, but I finally watched Psycho Goreman, and the movie was just so delightfully dumb that I couldn't help but enjoy it. For those of you who don't know the plot of Psycho Goreman, it's not what you think it is. I didn't know what I thought this movie was, but it's about two kids who happen to raise and befriend a benevolent alien sent to Earth to destroy all humanity. But
Do you think he's benevolent? Because I
don't know. They hold the one item that allows them to control his actions, and the thing that I like about Astron 6, and I think they do a much better job of it here than some of their earlier films like Manborg or even Father's Day, is they have this very unique use of green screen and puppets, and sometimes it's super fucking distracting, but I think this found a nice balance of it being like weird fucking puppet creatures, but like not so overly green screen that it's like it feels like you're watching a college film that someone threw together.
You know,
so
I have to agree with you on that because that is the highlight of that movie. And I mean, if anybody remembers what I said about Psycho Goreman when it came out, I watched it immediately and I was stoked on the idea of it. I just think it lost steam.
It does lose steam. I will say that, like, actually, it's kind of weird. It loses steam when the big bad finally shows up for the third act. And I'm like, I would have been fine if this was literally just 90 minutes of two kids playing with their, like, killer alien friend, and that like just at the end he learns to love or whatever, and you move on. Like, I did not need any of the subplot.
That'd be a much funnier movie. You could still have you could have all the gore. You could have all the puppets. You could just
I did not need the subplot of like the alien religious cult that was coming to take care of Psycho. Like, that is where the movie kind of falls apart a little bit. But like, it was not a 5 out of 5, but it was on a 5-star rating, this was an easy 3 or 3.5. Enough of it worked that I was happy that I watched it finally.
Yeah, and I think that with time being kinder to it, I would also give it a 3 out of 5.
When it hits 10 years, I think that we could have fun with that in the same way that we had fun with like a Wolf Cop. Like, it's very much in the Wolf Cop vein.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, Kyle or Scott, you guys fight it out.
I'll go since I went second for what did we watch? For double features. So I did not even start Halloween 3, but I did read, and I think I enjoyed Doom Flight by Guy N. Smith. Guy N. Smith was a very prolific and well loved pulp horror writer from the UK in the 80s. He has now passed on, but it is so fucking hard to find his books in the US that like Killer Crabs is like, there's this whole series of like Killer Crab books that he did, and they're hundreds of dollars. Like, it's $100 for a shit copy of it on eBay in America. I befriended and spoke with someone on the Retro Horror Paperbacks group who was selling a bunch of his stuff on Amazon or on eBay UK. And I was like, would you be willing to, if I Venmo'd you money for the books and for shipping, would you send me some Guy N. Smith? And because he was liquidating his collection. And so he sent me 7 of them. And I was like reading so they all showed up. They look awesome. I'm so stoked. I read the back covers to Megan, and she's like, that one. Because Doomflight is about this airfield from World War II airfield that is kind of like haunted by these undead druids, because there's a standing stone circle that was built that they built over in World War II for this airfield. And so like people that go there just get fucking ritualistically slaughtered for the old gods, and it's very popcorn. But I also thought that it would be great to finish it to discuss for this episode, because it kind of ties into the whole conversation of Samhain and the Druids and Celtic religion in Halloween too. So Doomflight by Guy N. Smith. Not a good book, but definitely an entertaining book.
Hell yeah. My wife and I have been watching The Secret Life of Mormon Wives.
Oh my God, Megan. Have you told Megan to watch it? Because
I haven't yet.
Okay, everybody's telling Megan to watch this shit.
Yeah. Well, I will, and she'll listen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be the one that works. No, I haven't told her to watch it yet, but it is. It's exactly what. Well, actually, it's not exactly what you think it is. It's a Hulu original. And if you had followed or had heard about Mom Talk, I mean, they talk about this as if it's this, cultural phenomenon. Mom Talk, TOK. It's a TikTok thing. Get with the program, everyone. But
have a baby, you'll understand.
Yeah, apparently. But they are referencing this group of moms, Mormon moms in Utah, that all got together and were making content. They're like a kind of a content house, but they're not saying they're a content house, that were making these TikTok videos to try to destigmatize Mormon wiffery. I don't know what they were trying to do, but they made a lot of viral content. One of which was that one of them admitted that they were all swinging together, and that was the pilot episode of this. Is they were talking about the buildup and the downfall, or the backlash against all these people who were involved with Mom Talk after one of them claimed that they were all swingers. So then the episode 2 and beyond picks up after that whole thing went viral. Oh, and also one of the other moms went viral because she was dancing in the NICU next to her son that was in recovery, and she got completely fucking blasted on the internet because of this. Anyway, if you like things like Real Housewives or other Bravo shows combined with the MTV approach of like a teen mom and like a little more invasiveness about it, but then also a second or third generation removed from this reality TV phenomenon now that feels like they know how to completely market this type of show themselves as as people, as characters. They know how to make money off of this. There's so many brand deals in it. It's very, and with the Hulu money of the Kardashians and like the eyeballs of that makes. If you like that type of shit, which I do.
I was gonna say, let us not forget that Kyle appeared on my old podcast, my favorite episode of, to talk about a random episode of, I believe, the 8th season of Sister Wives, which was wild to watch out of context for the podcast.
Yeah, I did. It is. I mean, it's just one of those. It's just so cringy and so stupid, and it's 8 episodes. So it's also, some of those other shows feel a little daunting because they can be like seasons of like 25 episodes somehow, right? Like this is a nice, tight 8 episodes to piss you off and kill some time. It's great.
All right. Well, that was Halloween 2. That was Mormon Wives, and next week is Halloween. So. You know our traditions. We're talking about We're talking about a kids movie. We're actually going to just watch an episode of Mormon Wives and talk about it. So stay tuned next week for whatever we do for Halloween.
Hello, everyone. We're superhero stuff you should know. And if you think you know about superheroes and comic books, think again.
We got romance. We got action.
Romance?
We got comedy. We got everything you need, man. Come on down to Superhero Stuff You Should Know for all your superhero needs.
I don't know about this romance. What part are you talking about?
We've got all kinds of sketches, and then deep dives on top of that. Come on down to Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
All right, so come on down to... Wait, why did I say come on down? To superhero stuff you should know.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.